The year is 2011. You've come home from school, grabbed a snack and a drink, and turned on your computer to load up Minecraft. God, there was nothing quite like it at the time. It was so new and fresh during its first few years, and by 2011, a bunch of your friends had probably heard about it too. Booting up the game now doesn't quite feel the same, and really, I'm not sure if it's because the game has changed too much, or maybe the community is just a much different place. We could have just played it so much that it lost its charm, but the most likely answer is, we grew up. Quite often, people discuss this idea of a golden age of a specific media. You know, like the Simpsons golden age or the golden age of Disney. Well, given Minecraft is 10 years old now, naturally there's a lot of conversation about its golden age. This question of, when was the game at its very best? When was the experience at its peak? And this can generally be answered by certain update patches. But rather than thinking about which patch was the golden age, I'd rather ask, is there really even a golden age at all? Now the definition of golden age is the period when a specific art or activity is at its peak. But that's a pretty hard thing to nail down, especially given the history of Minecraft and its communities, and the current resurgence of the game. I thought that it would be appropriate to at least play the game once again in an earlier patch to really try and see firsthand how different it used to be. I first started playing somewhere around 2011, and my account is still considered a legacy account by Mojang. But it's honestly been too long for me to remember how the game used to feel back then. So I went online and had a look at some forums, and because it's Reddit, nobody can agree on anything. Instead, I had a look at some personal Minecraft experiences for me. The main thing that got me into Minecraft was the Oxcast original series, so I thought I could play a little on one of those patches slightly before I started playing myself, and then I could play on a patch near to the end of the series, and then on a patch which I saw a few people mentioning online. So altogether this would be patches alpha 1.2.3_04, beta 1.7.2, and full release 1.2.5. So, in this first patch, the first thing I noticed were the limited amount of worlds you could create. Then when spawning in, I remembered things like the no food bar and not being able to run. Something I never knew, however, was that you had less third-person options. Something to note about this general time era of Minecraft is that the world generation was much different to how it is now. Which is weird because a lot of people, including myself, really like how weird and wacky the worlds could look. Of course, the common mixture of beach and snow was always pretty strange. This was a much simpler version of the game, where you could just punch a sheep for some wool. Also, the old damage sound is in this version, so that's immediately a big plus. One thing that I did find annoying were the limited controls in the crafting menu. You couldn't shift click or right click and drag, but that wasn't really too much of a problem. I continued on a bit, gathering a few resources, and set myself a little goal of making a house in the last few minutes before it got dark, because in this version of the game, the darkness was extremely hard to navigate. I managed to find coal for some torches and make a little house, which, all things considered, wasn't terrible. Moving on to this next patch. Wait, let me just check something. Yep, that's still in the game, great stuff. There still isn't a hunger bar or the ability to run, but something I did notice is the world generation is a bit different. It's not bad or anything, but it feels a lot less unique. There were still some interesting landscapes, but not to the extent of the last patch we looked at. At the same time though, the world did feel a lot bigger, and had more of a need to explore for longer to find cool and interesting stuff. Whereas in the other patch, everything sort of felt like it was at your doorstep. So, immediately, we can see that the hunger bar exists, and we can run now. Another thing to notice is us spawning on a bit of an island area, which from what I remember was fairly common for a period of time. Anyway, we start to head to the mainland, which incidentally is a jungle, so we know that there's been some significant updates at this point. One big thing I noticed about the world generation again was how biomes have become much larger and more distinct from each other now. Remember how we had icy beaches in the first patch we played on? Instead here, we see biomes coming a little close together, but once you enter a new biome, there isn't much chance of it mixing with the previous one. This version of the game really does feel different to the others we played. The hunger bar adds another element of gameplay, which while exploring felt a little limiting, but in the grand scheme of the game gives you a lot more to do with your time. I then also played on the current patch, just to see how things felt. And as you can imagine, everything was much different, since this is years and years later. One key thing which I did notice though is once again related to world generation. It felt like there were a bunch of unique different mountains and areas to build on again. The main issues that I have with the current game is how it wants everything to be fucking spoon-fed to you. Do you remember that old promotional video from the Minecraft website? The one that goes, "Let's go to a place where everything is made out of blocks." It really hammers in this idea of being a sandbox game and figuring things out for yourself while doing whatever you want to do. There is literally a part that says, "Let's go where you want to go." Meanwhile, in the current game, I had a tooltip that wouldn't go away until I punched down a tree, and then it wanted me to start crafting certain items, and it just felt like it wanted me to play the game in this specific way. There's probably a way to turn this off, but I honestly couldn't figure it out. I guess I've been gone from the game for longer than I realised, because there's an entirely new ore in the game, copper. Maybe we're meant to expect a pipes and plumbing update soon or something, I don't really know. Anyway, the current game is definitely worlds apart from how the game used to be played, even if there's much more stuff to do in the new game. So, relating this back to the Golden Age question, this does suggest that there was something a little bit special about some of the older patches. However, before going too in-depth into it just yet, there is one more topic I want to discuss. That topic being the general community at the time. Let's think back to some of the biggest Minecraft YouTubers near the start of the game's lifespan. Captain Sparkles, Sky Does Minecraft, and the absolute powerhouse that the Yogscast was in the community at the time. These YouTubers and a few more are pretty impactful as to why the game grew so large. The Yogscast even having some real life connections to Notch himself before the drama between them, if anyone remembers that. Mod showcases, Let's Plays and Hunger Games style videos absolutely dominated the YouTube scene at the time, but you barely see this sort of stuff anymore. The current community is seemingly based more around SMP servers like Dream SMP, Hermitcraft, and offline TV SMP servers, to name a few, with some Minecraft championships thrown in there. I'm not going to pretend like I know much about the current Minecraft YouTube or Twitch community, but I do know that it's nothing like it used to be, which makes sense because there's been a huge resurgence in Minecraft's popularity in recent years, bringing in an entirely new community of people altogether. This really polarizes the experiences players have had with the game. The older players playing a game completely different to what it is now, and watching completely different content by a different style of creator. And then the current players playing the game in more recent years and having their experiences completely shaped by the current mechanics of the game and the popular content creators right now. So once again, bringing this back to the question of, was there really a golden age of Minecraft? Yes, but also no. It's tricky. For us older players, yeah, there was definitely a golden age of Minecraft. But that's because we see it in that way due to the experiences we had at the time. The people that are just getting into it might see this as the golden age of Minecraft in, say, 5 or 10 years time, because of the experiences they're having right now. Maybe in 10 years time, Dream will just be a memory for a lot of people, and there will be some new content creator with a Minecraft monopoly instead, and the people that watched him will tell everybody about their own golden age of Minecraft. The truth is, it doesn't really matter what patch it is. What really matters are the experiences you personally had with the game. For me, the golden age would be somewhere between the patches I played on in this video. Those are the experiences that stuck with me the most. The fact that this game even has a debate on what the golden age is just shows how many different effects the game has had on each of us. And this means that, in a way, we've each had our own personal golden age.